Can you see through this?
I'm afraid you can, miss, but
I'll wear it.
During the filming of Red Dust, Jean Harlow collapsed on set, and those nearby noticed an unusual odor of urine on her breath. But what they didn't realize was that the unsettling smell was just the tip of a much darker, tragic secret. The platinum blonde bombshell who set the silver screen ablaze in the 1930s had a story far more complex than her on-screen persona suggested. Christened Harleen Carpenter, she was raised in a lavish mansion and summering at her grandparents' 25-room retreat in Bonner Springs. Young's world was one of privilege and comfort. However, this gilded childhood was not without its shadows. Her parents' divorce in 1922 left her alone with a mother who saw in her daughter the stardom she herself had failed to achieve. Jean Harlow Sr., who would later go by Mother Jean, was ambitious to the point of obsession. She never called her daughter anything but baby, even into adulthood, a sign of the unhealthy bond that would shape Harlow's life and career. The relationship between Harlow and her mother was complex and often strained. Mother Jean's overbearing nature and relentless pursuit of her daughter's success created a dynamic that would haunt Harlow throughout her life. This maternal influence would play a significant role in shaping Harlow's career choices and personal relationships, often to her detriment. At 15, Harlow contracted scarlet fever, a seemingly innocuous illness that would have far-reaching consequences. The streptococcal infection, while treatable today with antibiotics, was a serious threat in the 1920s. Unknown to Harlow and her family, this bout of scarlet fever likely marked the beginning of the medical problems that would ultimately claim her life. Harlow's entry into the world of cinema was as dramatic as any Hollywood script. At 16, she eloped with a wealthy young stockbroker named Charles McGrew, moving to Los Angeles where fate would intervene. While waiting for an aspiring actress friend in a studio lot, Harlow caught the eye of Fox Film Corporation executive. This chance encounter led to her first role as an extra, including bit parts in Laurel and Hardy comedies. Her marriage to McGrew was short-lived, lasting only 2 years. The young couple's relationship was strained by Harlow's burgeoning career and McGrew's heavy drinking. Their divorce in 1929 marked the beginning of Harlow's tumultuous love life, which would become as much a part of her legend as her on-screen performances. Harlow's big break came when she replaced Norwegian actress Greta Nissen in Howard Hughes' Hell's Angels. Nissen's thick accent was deemed unsuitable for the transition to talkies, and Harlow's platinum blonde locks and curvaceous figure made her the perfect replacement. It was during this time that she adopted her mother's name, Jean Harlow, as her screen moniker. The transition from silent films to talkies was a seismic shift in Hollywood, and many stars of the silent era found themselves unable to make the leap. Harlow, with her sultry voice and natural charisma, was perfectly suited for this new era of cinema. Her performance in Hell's Angels catapulted her to stardom and established her as one of the first sex symbols of the sound era. Harlow's rise to fame coincided with one of the darkest periods in American history. She signed her first film contract in October 1929, the very month of the infamous Wall Street crash that heralded the Great Depression. As soup kitchens multiplied and poverty stalked millions, Hollywood continued its decadent party. Harlow, with her daring on-screen presence and off-screen antics, became a beacon of escapism for a nation in crisis. The contrast between Harlow's glamorous life and the struggles of everyday Americans during the Depression was stark. Her films provided a much-needed distraction for audiences grappling with economic hardship. Harlow's characters often embodied a kind of aspirational fantasy, beautiful, witty women who could charm their way out of poverty and into the arms of wealthy men.
Red, this can't go on.
But why?
I love my wife. I've never loved anybody else. Why, we've been sweethearts ever since we were kids.
Yes, but she doesn't need to know about us.
Her reputation for scandalous behavior was as much a part of her appeal as her acting. Rumors abounded that she slept naked and never wore undergarments. On set, she was known to change clothes in full view of the crew, eschewing the modesty screens used by other stars. She would often give reporters a quick flash to prove she was, as she put it, the same color all over. This carefully cultivated image of the bad girl made her a box office sensation, She starred in a string of hits including Bombshell, Dinner at 8, and Red Dust, often paired with leading man Clark Gable. Their on-screen chemistry was electric, though their off-screen relationship was purely platonic. Gable and Harlow developed a close friendship that would last until her death, with Gable becoming one of her staunchest supporters in Hollywood. However, he did often complain about her urine-smelling breath during their romantic scenes. Harlow's acting style was often underestimated due to her sex symbol status. Despite this, she possessed a natural talent for comedy and a gift for delivering sharp, witty dialogue. Her performances in films like Dinner at 8 showcased her ability to hold her own against seasoned actors and demonstrated a depth that went beyond her bombshell image. But it was her personal life that truly captured the public's imagination. At 21, Harlow married Paul Byrne, an MGM executive 22 years her senior. The marriage shocked Hollywood. Byrne was known more for his intellect than his looks, and many wondered what Harlow saw in him. Some speculated it was his connections in the industry, while others believed he was one of the few men who saw beyond her bombshell image to the serious actress beneath. Byrne, born Paul Levy in Germany, had reinvented himself in America, rising through the ranks to become a powerful figure in Hollywood. Known for his keen eye for talent and his ability to nurture stars, Byrne was respected in the industry. His marriage to Harlow seemed to soften his reserved image, and for a brief moment, they were Hollywood's golden couple. The union of Harlow and Byrne represented a meeting of two worlds: the brash, youthful energy of the new Hollywood and the more cerebral, European-influenced old guard. Byrne saw in Harlow not just a beautiful face, but a talented actress with untapped potential. He became her mentor as well as her husband, guiding her career and encouraging her to take on more challenging roles. Their union, unfortunately, was short-lived and ended in tragedy. On September 5, 1932, just 2 months after their wedding, Byrne was found dead in their Beverly Hills home. His body, discovered in the bathroom, bore a single gunshot wound to the head. The scandal that followed would shock Hollywood and forever change the trajectory of Harlow's life and career. In the days leading up to his death, Byrne had appeared troubled. Colleagues reported he seemed distracted and withdrawn. The night before his death, he had attended a dinner party with Harlow, but left early, claiming he felt unwell. What transpired in the hours between the dinner and the discovery of his body became the subject of intense speculation and investigation. In a move that would be unthinkable today, MGM's fixers arrived at the scene before the police. For 2 hours they combed through the house, potentially altering evidence to protect the studio's valuable star. When the authorities finally arrived, they were presented with a scene that pointed to suicide. This interference by the studio would later fuel conspiracy theories and cast doubt on the official versions of events. As the investigation unfolded, a shocking truth emerged. Paul Byrne had another secret wife. Dorothy Millette, an actress Byrne had married years earlier in New York, was still legally his spouse when he wed Harlow. Byrne had been supporting Millette financially, sending her $350 monthly and corresponding with her regularly on MGM stationery. The revelation of Byrne's secret marriage stunned Hollywood and raised questions about the validity of the marriage to Harlow. It also cast a shadow over Harlow's reputation, with some questioning whether she had known about Millette's existence. The scandal threatened to derail Harlow's career just as it was reaching its peak. The day after Byrne's death, Millette checked out of San Francisco's Plaza Hotel, where she had been living for 4 months. She boarded the Delta King riverboat, paying for a $3 stateroom. Witnesses reported seeing her distraught and crying on deck in the early hours of the morning. By sunrise, Millette had vanished, leaving behind only her coat and shoes. For a week, speculation ran rampant. Had Millette murdered Byrne in a fit of jealous rage? Was she on the run? The press dubbed her the ghost wife, and rumors swirled about a mystery woman seen with Byrne the day before his death. The circumstances surrounding Byrne's demise became the subject of countless theories, each one more sensational than the last. On September 14th, fishermen near Walnut Grove made a grim discovery. Millette's body was found floating in the Sacramento River. She had jumped from the riverboat, ending her life shortly after learning of Burns' death. The mystery woman was no longer a ghost, but a tragic victim of circumstances beyond her control. The deaths of Byrne and Millette created a media frenzy, with newspapers across the country speculating about the nature of their relationship and the events leading to their deaths. The scandal threatened to engulf Harlow, who found herself at the center of a storm of gossip and innuendo. The official verdict on Byrne's death was suicide. The rumors of foul play persisted for years. MGM's publicity machine went into overdrive, hinting that Byrne may have been unfitted for marriage, a euphemism suggesting impotence or homosexuality. This narrative conveniently absolved Harlow of any blame while painting Byrne as weak and unworthy of the screen siren. Some speculated that Byrne's relationship with Millette had become a source of blackmail, while others suggested that his marriage to Harlow was a sham orchestrated by the studio. The truth, whatever it may have been, was buried along with Byrne, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and Hollywood mythology. The Byrne scandal had a profound impact on Harlow, both personally and professionally. While it threatened to derail her career, she ultimately emerged from the tragedy with her star power intact. The public's fascination with the scandal only seemed to increase her popularity, and MGM worked tirelessly to protect their valuable asset. Harlow, resilient as ever, continued her career. She married again in 1933, though this union with cinematographer Harold Rawson lasted barely 8 months. The brevity of this marriage fueled further speculation about Harlow's personal life and her ability to maintain stable relationships. In 1935, she began a relationship with actor William Powell, her co-star in Reckless and Libeled Lady. Powell was reluctant to marry, having recently divorced Carole Lombard. In response to his hesitation, Harlow reportedly engaged in drinking contests with Clark Gable, a behavior that hinted at the emotional turmoil beneath her glamorous exterior. Throughout this tumultuous period, Harlow's health was slowly deteriorating. The scarlet fever she had contracted as a teenager had likely damaged her kidneys, a condition exacerbated by the hard partying lifestyle of Hollywood. Yet, in an era before advanced medical diagnostics, these underlying issues went undetected. Harlow's frequent complaints of fatigue and illness were often dismissed as the result of her hectic schedule or the aftermath of her wild nights out. In 1936, Harlow became pregnant with Powell's child. She wanted to leave acting, marry Powell, and start a family. In contrast, Powell didn't want children, and Harlow's mother forced her to have an abortion, a secret kept from Powell. This traumatic event, kept hidden from the public and even from Powell himself, added another layer of complexity to Harlow's already complicated life. The following year, Powell finally proposed, giving Harlow a sapphire engagement ring. The engagement seemed to signal a turning point in Harlow's life, a chance at stability and happiness after years of turbulence. However, fate had other plans. In late May 1937, while filming Saratoga with Clark Gable, Harlow fell seriously ill. She had always struggled with her weight, but now she was gaining weight inexplicably. Her skin took on a grayish hue, and she felt constantly sick. The weight gain wasn't from fat, but from fluid retention, a common symptom of kidney failure. Her grey skin was another telltale sign, caused by the buildup of uremic frost, a layer of urea crystals excreted through the skin when the kidneys can no longer remove urea from the bloodstream. During a scene where Gable was supposed to pick her up and throw her onto a couch, Harlow's laboured breathing and profuse sweating forced them to stop filming. A doctor was called, and Harlow was sent to hospital. However, her mother brought her home, caring for her herself for a week, a decision that may have cost Harlow valuable treatment time. On the 8th day, Harlow became delirious and was admitted to Good Samaritan Hospital. Initially misdiagnosed with an inflamed gallbladder, it was Clark Gable who provided the crucial clue. Visiting Harlow in the hospital, he noticed again that her breath smelled like urine. This observation led doctors to change their diagnosis to kidney failure. The smell of urine on Harlow's breath was due to her failing kidneys' inability to process ammonia, forcing her body to expel it through her lungs. Her fatigue, nausea, swelling, and other symptoms were all manifestations of the advanced kidney failure. As her condition worsened, Harlow drifted in and out of consciousness, her moments of lucidity becoming increasingly rare. William Powell, devastated by Harlow's condition, rarely left her side. He had finally realized the depth of his feelings for her, but it was too late. On June the 7th, 1937, just 8 days after leaving the movie set, Jean Harlow died. She was only 26 years old. The official cause of death was listed as cerebral edema, a complication of kidney failure. Her last words, spoken to her mother, were reportedly, "I'm so tired. I just want to sleep."